people live. We want you to know that
and WLON. Hospice of Cleveland County presents a chicken dinner and dessert sale Friday, April 5th at the Cleveland County Fairgrounds on East Marion Street in Shelby. And the 38th annual Paul Porter Memorial Golf Tournament is set for May 22nd at Riverbend YMCA Golf Course in Shelby. For more information, call 704-482-4286. And that's a look at What's Up, brought to you by the What's Up Shopper, Carolina Country, WCSL 1590 AM and 92.3 FM. The Boss, WOHS 1390 AM and 101.5 FM. And WLON 1050 AM and 107.5 FM. For more information, go to whatsupshopper.com.
Cold temperatures settling in across the area again overnight tonight. A hard freeze likely once again. We'll have mostly clear skies tonight. Temperatures will dip down into the middle 20s. A mix of sun and clouds Thursday. It stays chilly with high temperatures in the upper 40s. And then another disturbance will have some impacts across the area Friday. We'll have rain likely throughout the day with high temperatures in the mid 40s. For the North Carolina News Network, I'm meteorologist Amy Wilmoth in the Weather Center.
Currently at the Big Old Country Studios, it's 4:06.
And good afternoon. I guess the mics do work. Ken Link. I'm Kevin Hastings. It's the best in sports talk show. Wednesday afternoons, 4 to 5 p.m. WCSL 1590 AM. And all of our viewers online, hello on YouTube. And thanks for viewing on YouTube. You can view this show and our Saturday morning sports talk show on YouTube every Wednesday and Saturday. On your phones, your tablets, and wherever, just go to YouTube and watch Ken and myself. And Addison's under the weather today. Didn't make it in today. We got all kinds of things to talk about, Ken. Busy week for KTC. We've got Hornets basketball, college basketball all over the place. The high school basketball playoffs are winding up, and it's also the beginning of softball and baseball season here in high school sports. And we'll be talking Legion before we know it. And we got NASCARs going on KTC. Just a busy few weeks here. No football, and we got 3 or 4 different sports all going on at the same time, Ken.
Yes, we do. And you talked about the basketball. We've been in the high school basketball playoffs, and we've been following a couple of local teams, and had 2 local teams in action last night trying to advance into the regional round. And one of them was able to advance, and one of them wasn't. And we'll talk about those teams because I was one of the game. Kevin was at the other game. But let's talk a little bit about the teams that are in the regional finals. In the western side of the bracket this year, the games for the western regionals will be at Hickory, 2 sites, CVCC, Catawba Valley Community College, and also Lenore Ryan campus. And we're going to go over those, and we're also going to mention the teams that are playing in the east for the regional championships. I believe the sites where they were playing, one is East Carolina in Greenville, and the other is in Fayetteville. I think Fayetteville State University, something like that. But first of all, let's hit the classification. The 1A classification in the West, you have Bishop McGuinness, who was the number 9 seed, squaring off against a number 3 seed, North Rowan, for the Western Division Championship, and that will be at CVCC at 6 o'clock Saturday. In the East, on Saturday, you'll have Henderson Collegiate, number 2. That's a high school. It's not a college, but that's her name. Against number 1, Washington County, and that will be for the Eastern Regional Championship in 1A. In 2A, Western side, CBC at noon this Saturday, and we'll have that game for you on WLON because one of the teams in that game is the East Lincoln Mustangs. They're the number 1 seed in the West, and they will be playing the number 2 seed in the West, which is Forest Hills. And last night, East Lincoln got there by advancing with a 73-64 win over East Rufflin. And on the other side of the bracket, Shelby was beaten by Forest Hills in a contest where I think Forest Hills, I think it was 77-66, was it?
Right,
Kevin.
Right. Well, I was there for that one. Interesting ball game altogether. And so Forest Hills will be facing East Lincoln, and of course East Lincoln beat East Rutherford, who Shelby already beat a couple of times this year in conference play. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. We were just talking before going down there and coming back and everything. The Final Four teams here in the 2A, when I say they're all evenly matched up, I don't mean that they're all, even exact same teams. But I don't think anyone is overwhelming to a point where, yes, these 4 teams were probably better than the next tier of teams, but I don't think any of those 4 teams, I think if you played them played those 2 games again last night, Ken, you may have had different results, and one, maybe even both of them.
Well, certainly. In the game we had, Tim Johnson and I at East Lincoln, East Rutherford, I thought they were going to run East Lincoln out of the gym down there in Denver at first half. The score at half was 49-39. At one point in that first half, the Cavaliers were up by 13, 14 points. Different game second half as the shooting went cold for the Cavaliers, and interesting third quarter. East Rutherford scored 3 points in the third quarter after putting 49 on the board in the first half. But East Lincoln came out the second half and quickly narrowed it up to a 1-point margin. Cavaliers still leading 52-51. There was still about 5 minutes left in the third quarter. And, folks, that was the score at the end of the third quarter. Neither team scored the last 5 minutes of the third quarter. That was strange.
100. You had about 70, 80 some points in the first half.
Yeah.
And then about 25 in the second quarter.
Yes.
Or third quarter total.
Yeah. And so they end up winning that game as they took control. Sidney Dollar led the Mustangs. Very aggressive last night. 35 points, 17 rebounds. So certainly he's the leader of the offensive effort for the Mustangs.
They will play this Forest Hills group at CVCC Saturday at noon. So for you Lincoln County fans, let me give you some heads up on the Forest Hills guys breakdown from last night. Shelby, I think, could have beat them. What happened was, Ken, was that we talked about this a little while ago. The shooting in the first half really ended up biting Shelby. They were down 13 at halftime. The other team was 5 of 9 for 3. Forest Hills was 5 of 9 for 3, and Shelby was 1 of 9 for 3. Now, Shelby's not a 3-point shooting team. They'll fire them up, but as I was telling Hunter, usually it's okay if they go 1 for 9. They just want to put the shots up on the board, get the rebounds, put them back.
I saw what Coach Hollifield sort of said. He thought his team tried to match them with threes and maybe threw up a couple extra in that first half.
Their offense, like I said, they run the 2 groups and the 10 players. So when Shelby comes in like that, if someone's not hitting, they have a tough time finding the one who is on, and they have a tough time deciding who's the playmaker tonight. So at Forest Hills, I think, as far as it's going to be a 7-on-7 like with East Lincoln. Like there's not going to be 10 players on each team running out here in shifts like Shelby does. It's going to be 6-7 deep, just like you had with East Rutherford.
Yes.
And then Forest Hills starting lineup. I'm going to go down the lineup real quick. Point guard is about 5'7", 130 pounds. Really fast, really good hands. He can shoot free throws. You don't want to put him on the line. I don't remember him taking a shot, to tell you the truth, a regular shot. But, however, the defensive-wise, whoever's bringing the ball up is going to get hounded. I mean, just hounded by this kid. The shooting guard, for you Duke fans out there, remember Khalid El-Amin of the UConn Huskies, kind of short, stocky guard. That's what their shooting guard kind of looks like. And he don't miss, Ken. He missed, I think, 1 3, and it was an air ball.
I remember
it was like Steph Curry when he just don't miss, and then you'll throw an air ball.
I remember him from last year when East Lincoln played him in the 4th round and got beat by 10.
Right.
And he was a good ball player. In fact, I thought he was the best player in the game for them last year in that game I saw.
So both guards are both of those are under 6 foot tall. Then they have 2 wings in Nashawn Tyson, and then Beelan. I can't remember Beelan's first name right now. But Beelan is the name you're going to hear Ken and them say a lot. Probably Tyson too combined. They probably had about 40 points and 12 rebounds just added together. They got 2 guards that bring the ball up, move it around. One can shoot real well. Then the wings run the floor real well. Everyone but the center will bring the ball up in a fast break. They don't concern themselves with that at all. The center, who's listed at 6'7", will give. I'm not gonna say he's not gonna give East Lincoln trouble, but they don't run the offense through him. They really run it probably through the wings. And in fact, the shooting wise, those 3 guys shooting the ball, Ken, is pretty good shooters. It's not just one shooter. And the Beelan kid's probably overall, he might be the best basketball player all around, maybe, that I've seen this year. Maybe, I don't think anybody can compete with Sydney on the dunking part of it, but he can't shoot as well as some of these other kids, and so I think this Beelan kid may be the best. Maybe the best all around. He's, like I said, he's not overwhelming. He's just good.
Smooth player.
I was like
remember
18 and 9, I think, last night.
I remember him from last year as well. Smooth player, just polished and pretty solid in all the fundamentals on the court.
Right. Yeah.
You were talking about their point guard, Sembler in East Lincoln. East Lincoln's point guard Zirkle, good solid player, but doesn't shoot. He won't put it up. He looks for other. He does play good defense, but he's not going to score. And Horn, the other guy who doesn't score a lot on that team but plays good defense and really hustles hard, they're not going to put up many points. They're not going to put up many shots. But the guys that do the shooting will be Dollar, Kuthan. Those are your big guys. Kuthan's about 6'5", 6'6". Dollar's about 6'5". And then your outside shooter is John Bean. And when he's on, I mean, he can get hot. Last night, first half, he didn't hit anything. Second half, he hit 3 or 4 threes. That made a big difference.
Well, that's what I worry about with East, is that the way their team is set up, Ken, you got Kuthan and Dollar playing the 4 and 5. All their offense is pretty much run through them.
Yeah.
And then you've got Bean with the threes. He fires it if he's open.
Oh, he will.
He don't think twice about it.
He don't hesitate.
No.
But the other team knows that. So
if you take out one, you can take out a shooter on a team. So if you take out Bean, what are they going to do?
They're going to dare Zirkle and Horn to hit from outside, and I don't think they can or will.
And so that means Sydney and Kuthan will have to dominate down low. And what I'm going to say about that, I'm not saying they can't. What I'm saying is that Forest Hills they're going to foul, they're going to block, they're going to try. Every shot was contested last night for Shelby. There wasn't nothing. Forest Hills plays like Shelby did, except they had more, I would say, quote, basketball players than Shelby.
I got you.
So they both played very aggressive defense. Like it was no, like I told Ken earlier, there's no holds barred in the first half physically wise. I do want to mention our player of the game last night was sophomore Jack Hollyfield, and he kept. He played like it was his senior night, Ken, and he was passionate and yelling at players and yelling at coaches, and he was trying to get his team going and keep them into it because they got down early. They hit those threes real quick and got down 10, and it was like they never could come back. But Jack Hollifield, folks, last night, here's your stat of the night. He drew 6. I'm gonna say it again. 6 charges. Jack Hollifield drew 6 charges. 2 were called on him, which they may have gotten tired of calling charges, Ken. And then the 2 others, they didn't even call anything. And in fact, me and Hunter was talking like, why does Forest Hills keep going at him? Like they were driving, and instead of Jack will come off his man and get that spot,
your position,
and he'll get the position, and they were just running through him. And I'm like, they were so obviously blatant because they couldn't even argue.
Yeah.
But they just never stopped. I guess they don't have too many people taking charges, but Jack drew 6 charges. His final stat line was 15, 8, and 6. 15 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 drone charges.
Wow.
So I want to give so much credit to him. He played so hard last night. Some of the other seniors, I know I'm going to forget somebody. J.J. McCleve, Daquan George. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's any other seasons. They got 4 of their 5 starters coming back. Shelby does. So they're only losing George.
They should be pretty good next year.
George's is their 4 or 5 man. He's their energy guy. He's their spark, and so they'll need a new spark and maybe another big man, but they'll be competing back here next year. So that sets up Forest Hills and East Rutherford. Saturday at noon, folks. Saturday at noon.
East Lincoln, not
East
East
Lincoln, yeah, that's right. Jeez. Shelby and Shelby versus East Road. Shelby and East Lincoln Saturday at noon at CVCC. And I want to talk a couple things about that real quick. One thing, Ken, a lot of people complaining, or we can't never have anything without people complaining about last night's games not being at a neutral site.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So you talked about how it was in a packed gym. We were in a packed gym.
Oh yeah, it was great atmosphere. Really.
Is the fourth round early enough to do that? That's what they used to do it. And one of the coaches for East Lincoln, Billy Howe, tweeted out this morning. He's like, he likes what they set up because last year, and what he's talking about, a couple years back, they were playing in a hockey rink, which is the Greensboro Annex. So you're not actually playing in a basketball gym. And we talk about this in the state championship games. When you get in these big arenas or big state championship games, it takes the high school atmosphere.
Yeah, it does.
Away. So I think they got to find a happy medium on smaller venues, college venues, but bigger high school venues. I know people were turned away at some point, but what do you do about it? I mean, should they? High school basketball, first round you might not have anybody in some of the stands, and then 2 rounds later you're needing extra people. I think West Charlotte had people turned away last night.
They did,
and so did East. And I'm guessing Forest Hills did last night as well too. I feel bad for anyone who drove from Shelby all the way down there because Ken is on my maps. It said it'd take an hour and 10 minutes. It took us 2 hours and 20 because the Charlotte the 5 o'clock traffic. We had to go right through during downtown. Not downtown, but during heavy traffic flow. So it just depends on when you go. So anyone from Shelby that drove down there and didn't get in, I feel so sorry for you. But what else do you do to? I like the atmosphere. The round maybe what they could have did instead of playing Tuesday, if they want to do it, is do some type of combination where they play that round this weekend. They're playing there anyway at CVCC. Like, why not play 2 games there? I don't know that. Maybe even separate the men's and women's. Send them. And then other people are talking about the way the schedule is in the West. Ken, you're not going to be able to watch all the men's games because they're playing at the same time. So if you want to watch just the men's, you can't. Because they're playing at the same time.
It's the same time at 2 different sites, yeah.
Instead of putting all the girls at one site and all the boys at the other site, they've got them mixed up and they're playing at the same time. So you couldn't be able to watch some games at the same time if you're looking to be scouting or just even thinking about it. My question for is, if Lenore Ryan, have you been to that gym?
I have not.
Okay. Here's the thing I wanted to point out before we get to our next break. We got to get a break. CVCC. So, as a shooter, the gym bothers me, and here's why. I don't know if you've ever noticed, you go to almost every, I would say 90% of high school gyms, the goal is connected to the back wall.
Yeah, yeah.
If you go to most colleges, I would say most, every NBA basketball goal is connected to the floor. So what I'm getting at is that as a shooter, you see a 10-foot goal connected to a wall or the floor, so you have a point of reference, right?
Yeah. Depth perception.
That's the exact keyword. At CVCC, and like Duke, the goal is connected to the ceiling and not the wall or floor. And people that don't shoot would never notice that. Even if they did, they would say it wouldn't matter. The goal's 10 foot tall.
Yeah.
But as a shooter, what you just said, Ken, is the depth perception of seeing a goal hang there in the middle of the air. Mm-hmm. Instead of being actually connected to a wall that I can touch, or the part that goes to the ground that you can touch. So, to me, every single time I ever walked into CVC, it took me extra shots to get my eyesight and everything.
Yeah, you think it wouldn't make a difference, but it's just like a net. If you shoot at a goal that don't have a net, it's harder because you're looking at a little thin rim. If you got a net, you got a bigger target.
Yep.
It's same kind of concept.
Yep. And there's and this ain't got nothing to do with that. There's people that, I don't know if you've ever heard it. People argue about what you're supposed to look at when you're shooting. Some people say the front of the ring. Others say the inside back of the ring. Mm-hmm. And so, just depending on what you're shooting. Now, from my standpoint, I'm so short, I just want to get my shot off. Now, I'm not on but at the free throw line, I do look at the very front of the rim because the reason I do on that because I'm shooting it so soft that you want it to hit that front of the rim. Maybe if you do miss it, hit that front of the rim, it can just throw it up on there. So I have tried looking at the back of the rim. and shoot free throws, it doesn't bother me that much. Some people do. I do know one guy that on our team, he averaged 23 points a game. So whatever he wants to do, he would look at the back of the rim, and it just kind of blew my mind when he said that one day, because I was leaving shots short at the 3-point line, and I was like, "How do you?" And he was like, "Try looking at the back, and then you'll push it a little farther." And he's pretty right about that. So what I'd be concerned with, Ken, watch the first quarter shooters. Watch if Bean gets off early. Now, Bean's played in that gym.
Yes.
So East Lincoln might not affect them as much as Forest Hill.
Yeah, so they have been there, and Forest Hill hasn't. That's a good point.
Watch those shooters in that first half if Beelan and all those guys make it. You got any other points or notes on this?
No, not on that game. But, in the East, I'll say in the East 2A, you got, again, the first 2 seeds there, too. Number 2, Green Central gets number 1, Farmville Central. So you're going to have 2 good teams that'll play for that state championship 2A.
Real quick, looking at the matchups, Ken, I wanted to see, you've got, this is all men's, right?
Yes.
So let me look at the 3A here.
Yeah, this is all men's.
3 and 4 and 1 and 2. So that's a 1. So check. So of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games this weekend in the regionals, 5 of them are 1 versus 2. Pretty good bracketing.
Pretty good seeding, I'd say.
Pretty good bracketing, you think?
Yeah.
The other ones that aren't 1 versus 2, folks, R.J. Reynolds, the 9 seed, is at number 6, West Charlotte.
Yeah.
Then 4 Williams versus, well, it's not at West Charlotte, it's versus West Charlotte. The number 4 Williams versus number 3 Eastern Alamance in the Eastern 3A. And then in the 1A, Bishop McGinnis, number 9, is against North Rowan. And did they beat Winston-Salem Prep? Is that what I'm looking at? Let me go back.
Winston-Salem Prep is not in it, so they must have got beat by, of course, Bishop McGinnis, and we know they've got a great program in past years. Now, I don't know anything about their team this year, but obviously they're playing well now to get all the way to the regionals.
Well, the 9 seed, Ken. So let me scroll down here. We want to give you the exact information. Gosh, I can't see it so small. I had to pull it up later. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a minute. I'll let you know that in the break, folks, on ktcbroadcasting.com.
Down Home with Milton Baker. Monday through Friday mornings 9 to 11 on Carolina Country WCSL. 92.3 FM and 1590 AM.
Isolated and alone?
That's how millions of Americans feel while experiencing a mental health crisis.
Need to talk? Our providers love to listen.
Call us now at 1-888-235-HOPE.
That's 1-888-235-4673.
Partners, improving lives and strengthening communities in North Carolina. 1-888-235-HOPE. 235-4673.
Isolated and alone?
That's how millions of Americans feel while experiencing a mental health crisis.
Need to talk? Our providers love to listen.
Call us now at 1-888-235-HOPE.
That's 1-888-235-4673.
Partners, improving lives and strengthening communities in North Carolina. 1-888-235-HOPE. 235-4673.
Is the cost of ink driving your profits down? Then listen up. Discount Ink Jet and Toner is here to help. Discount Ink Jet and Toner specializes in refilling ink jet and toner cartridges. Cut your ink costs by as much as 50% or more. Discount Ink Jet and Toner, located on 410 East Franklin Boulevard in Gastonia. 100% satisfaction guaranteed.
What 3 words best describe Roadsdale Farms in Kings Mountain? Local, local, and local. Like locally grown beef and pork, locally grown hot and mild sausage, local hamburger, local honey, and locally grown sweet potatoes. Plus North Carolina jams, jellies, and ciders. Local, local, local. Roadsdale Farms, Shelby Highway, 74 Business West in Kings Mountain. Open Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Saturdays from 10 a.m. till 5 p.m.
Need a licensed electrician to service your home? Give us a jingle, or just use this one.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8
8Sparky. For local pros, call Mr. Sparky. Need a licensed electrician to service your home? Give us a jingle, or just use this one.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8Sparky.
For local pros, call Mr. Sparky.
They've done it. Weston Sales in Vail is North America's #1 Coyote dealer. Now listen up. I didn't just say #1 in North Carolina. I didn't say just #1 in the United States. I said #1 Coyote dealer in North America. Come to Weston Sales in Vail and find out why. It's time for you to get ahead of the pack and get a new Coyote from Weston Sales in Vail. Ask about their 6-year unlimited hour warranty and a free loader with qualifying tractors. Weston Sales, 110 North Highway 18 in Vail, #1 in North America.
At Cherryville Auto and Truck Parts, we are now able to give our customers one of the largest inventories in the area. We have moved from the small blue building to the newer location at 1313 Shelby Highway. We are now in the former Marvin Beam Ford building. We stock many more parts for your auto, heavy-duty truck, tractor, and hydraulic needs. Come check us out at your Napa store in Cherryville, located at 1313 Shelby Highway, across the road from WCSL.
Sweetie, want some fruit?
You have to use the right tool for the job. A power drill is the wrong tool to slice fruit. Just like an antibiotic is the wrong tool to treat viruses, including colds and flu. Antibiotics are only needed for certain bacterial infections. When they aren't needed, antibiotics won't help you, and the side effects could still hurt you. Ask your healthcare professional when an antibiotic is the right tool and when it's not. Visit cdc.gov/antibiotic-use.
NASCAR racing right here on Big O Country, WCSL 1590 AM, Cherryville, Gastonia. Online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
And good afternoon. Welcome back to the Best in Sports Talk on Wednesday. I'm used to doing this on Saturday. I almost said Saturday, Ken. It's Wednesday Sports Talk. I'm Kevin Hastings along with Ken Link. Addison couldn't make it in today. Hello, Addison. If you're watching online, you can see me waving. I got to put the banana there in a second. That's what I got to do.
There you go.
NFL time to talk here. We're going to talk a few minutes about that. Yes, there's no games. Yes, the AAFL is playing right now. But we got all kinds of other news like Combine and who's going to do what, who's going to trade for who's going to pick what. What are the Panthers going to do? What are the Brownies going to do? Cowboys, they said that they're going to watch Amari Cooper highlights on the first day. That's what Stephen Jones actually said out loud. He said they say some weird things, those Joneses.
Well, and, I don't know whether you can believe those Joneses are too much anyway. I mean,
you know how I say all they do is sell hot dogs now?
Yeah.
Athletic directors and GMs are more concerned with selling hot dogs than they are actually selling football tickets. Looked up a percentage, Ken. It was like 0.0017 something other percent. When you compare how many hot dogs you sell to games, like games are like 0.1% of what they actually do. They sell like 200 million hot dogs a year. I think baseball does.
Hey, that's
but they only have like 2,000 games.
A lot of hot dogs.
They are. That's what they do.
Well, folks, we had the Combine, and, you got some guys out there running around in shorts, and they got winners and losers. I pay attention to the eye test more than I do that kind of stuff. But that's happened, and the next big thing will be free agency, which, by the way, starts in a week. It'll be March 13th at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's the first time you can sign free agents. And I heard today that the Giants would not franchise tag Landon Collins, so he is now one of the best safeties in the league, a free agent. So a lot of good free agents out there. We'll see what teams ante up the big money and go after them.
All right, Ken, with that thought, we know what the Cowboys are going to do. What are the Panthers going to do in free agency and during the draft? Everybody's this talk of Cam stuff, or what are they going to do with Cam? And I didn't realize it, and I started thinking about this week, about why they never put a backup, get a backup in him that plays like him, a running. That's always been my pet peeve. Is if you're going to have a running starting quarterback, why don't you have backups that play the same offense?
Yeah.
But and then we're talking, do they ever get a vet? Are they going to get a veteran? They keep saying no, they're not going to do that either. They're not going to draft. So what are they going to do? And like maybe nothing. And you've got to think about it. Who drafted Cam Newton? The GM that's there now.
Yeah, I know.
That was his last draft. Was Cam Newton.
Cam Newton.
So he's married to him 8 years later, and he hadn't even been putting the team together 8 years later. So no matter what they've got to go another. I guess they're going to play. I think they're going to play out the contract. What is it? 2 more years, maybe?
Yeah, 2 years.
And then go from there before Gettleman does anything.
But I think after this last year, you got to be real close to deciding what the future looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe what they're waiting for is see how his health is this year, and then they'll have a better idea of what the future is going to look like. But I don't think they're going to go out on a free agent market and bring in another quarterback. I think they're going to go with a couple of young guys they've tried to play a little bit, last couple of games last year. These guys are inexperienced, hadn't proven anything, but they don't seem to want to go get anybody else or spend any money on any other quarterbacks.
What is he doing in there? Anyway, so what do you think? I mean, shouldn't the Panthers have a running backup quarterback type of player that can run the same offense? I never understood the Derek Anderson thing. Like, if he gets hurt, now we're going to come in and call completely different plays that we didn't practice all week.
Or you're limited by what you do call because, of his skill set.
Right.
So I agree with you. It seemed like you'd want somebody to be sort of seamless as far as
it affects the run game, too,
well,
Kim,
sure,
because your play fakes. Because Cam runs different run plays.
He does.
Than Dan Marino runs.
He does. So we'll see. I mean, I guess they're crossing their fingers and think we're hoping that Cam will be healthy and can play 16 games, but you can't really count on that in the NFL. Injuries do happen.
Anybody playing.
Injuries do happen.
Looking at the mock drafts, everything I've seen so far has the Panthers taken some type of an offensive lineman.
Well, I don't think they'll do that. I think they're going to go with the edge rusher. They're going to have to get a defensive end that can help them. They don't have much there now besides Addison, and they need a game in a pro. Now, yeah, you need offensive linemen, but at 16, Kevin, how good an offensive tackle are you going to get? They need tackles. They don't need guards. They need tackles, and you're not going to get an offensive tackle that good at 16, in my opinion.
So in the early 2000s, the Cowboys went through a stretch of drafting where they just
offensive linemen.
No. That's when they did good. They went through a stretch in the early 2000s, before the 2011s, where they went in a stretch of the worst drafting I've ever seen. And they went through a stretch, and Jerry Jones won a year. He can't help himself, Ken. Ever since he missed Randy Moss, one time a year, he picks a player that can't play, that might be able to play, or might be on drugs or something that the other people don't want. He always does that, at least one player.
He does.
And during the early 2000s, they were picking players that weren't good as the other picks too. So in the first 3 rounds, my philosophy has always been you have to pick someone, the first 2 definitely, that can start this year right now. They got to start. 3rd round, you want them to be starters. 4th and 5th round, after that, you're just guessing.
Yeah.
And those first 3 rounds, if you don't get starters, it's a mistake. So when you look at these defensive edge rushers, and I guess this is what Panthers are going to have to choose from. Do they want the second best lineman, offensive lineman, and this is what the Cowboys started doing when they started drafting well. Remember when they drafted Frederick, they could have drafted other positions, but they decided, do we want the best center in the draft or the 5th best defensive end? And I think that's where the Panthers are going to be at 16, trying to figure out what about linebacker help with Kuechly, or is that a concern?
It's a little bit of a concern, but I don't think they're going to. The first couple of rounds, I don't think they're going to go that direction. I think if they try to do anything linebacker, they're going to wait to a middle round. I don't think
DBs too.
Yeah, same thing, DBs, and I think on the free agency they're going to try to bring another safety in. I don't think they'll go away from Landon Collins because it's going to cost too much. But maybe a veteran who's been around a while. Maybe
veteran safeties aren't that hard. You can sign one of those.
Eric Whittle's already has been released by the Raiders, and he's 33, but he can still play. They might try to get him on a pretty good contract for a couple years. So I think they're on the free agent market. They're not going to go after edge rusher in the free agent because it's going to cost too much. But they'll go after maybe secondary help, safety, maybe cornerback. That's what I'm looking for on the free agent market.
Yeah, with these teams, the way the salary cap's set up, it's better to draft your quarterback, get your quarterbacks and defensive ends through the draft to keep them cheap for as long as you can, because Dallas is running the chain. This is the 2nd year they've got a franchise DeMarcus Lawrence. Now, they picked him with, in the 1st or 2nd round, I can't remember. So they expect him to sign him long term. Yeah. But then when they get good, they don't want to pay him.
They don't want to pay him. and then you got to really pay. If they're still good when you get there, you got to really pay them to keep them, because you know they can hit the market and get a lot of money. So you got to step up.
What are your expectations for the Panthers this year going into the season, looking at other teams in the division, looking at your needs? You're thinking about Cam's injury. Can Kuechly survive? You know, they've gotten a lot of veterans have retired or they've cut them. What are, right now, I know this is 7 months away, but 6 months away, so expectations, you know, right now, for looking at that team, can they fill all the holes they need to be competitive for the playoffs?
That's a good question. I mean, the two biggest holes, offensive line and defensive end. I mean, you know, you can maybe fill in some in the secondary, but that's the biggest needs. And good question. I mean, can they fill in with somebody can really help them out at those spots? And we'll see. I mean, Darrell Williams is a tackle that was hurt all year last year. He's a free agent. I don't think they'll sign him because it's going to cost too much money. Mm-hmm. I think they'll let him hit I think he was third-rated offensive tackle as free agents. Mm-hmm. So somebody's going to pay him a lot of money. And he hadn't played enough that I think he's proven he's going to be worth that kind of money.
Well, if that leads into, you know, my next question, that was your expectations, I guess. What is theirs? You know what I mean? Because that totally affects what you do with Cam and the offense in the draft. So let's looking at other teams, and what I mean by that, what's the Panthers' expectations? Are they trying to win the Super Bowl this year? Are they trying to make a playoff? Are they just trying to be 8-8? Are they trying to survive? What are they trying to do this year? Because every team isn't trying to win the Super Bowl every year. The Raiders aren't trying to win the Super Bowl.
I think the Panthers,
the Bills and Dolphins aren't.
The Panthers are still on the deal of you know, we think we've got a lot of good talent. We still want to win the Super Bowl this year. But I agree with you. At the point where you got to say, hey guys, we got a year. We got to get back where we need to be.
Right. That's what I'm concerned with.
I don't think they're.
Can you jump back straight into competing for a Super Bowl this year?
Or at that realization.
Yeah.
Yet.
That they're not there.
As a fan, it'd be a big surprise if they could get to the Super Bowl because they do have a lot of holes to fill. And you can sit here as an optimist and say, well, I think they'll fill this, this, and this. But you can't count on that. Right. So I wouldn't predict that.
Okay. And the reason I kind of bring that up, too, is like I was trying to explain, you know, Terry gives me a lot of grief about pulling for the Browns now or whatever. Well, I'm like, well, Terry, what's the goal every year? So you can sit there and say, hey, y'all didn't win it. Like when they won the one game or didn't win a game. And he laughed at it. I'm like, well, our goal wasn't win the Super Bowl this year.
No.
It was to get rid of all the bad people and bring in all good people
for the future.
And what happened? So they got Baker Mayfield and they moved up. And then so you have to be realistic as a fan, as a team and an organization. And that's what I want more than anything is the organization to come out and say, hey, we're not trying to win the championship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they'll never do that. Nobody will ever say that.
They won't do that.
But, I mean, there's a lot of teams not trying to win the championship. And that's what I want to know, like, what are the Panthers trying to do? Because with all your linemen retire, all your old guys are retiring and moving out.
Yeah, and
what is the
they're
step?
in transition. They're trying to get younger with all that happening. Yeah. And so it'll be interesting. I think as you see the moves they try to make preseason, you'll have a better idea of what the answer to that question is, no matter what they say.
Right, no matter what they say. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back on KTCBroadcasting.com.
We know what the community wants and needs because we live here too.
Definitely in touch with the city and what's going on.
Carolina Country, 92.3 FM, 1590 AM, WCSL Cherryville.
I'm Lon Helton, inviting you to join me as I count down the week's top 30 with all three of the guys in the band Midland, who played Gillette Stadium with Kenny Chesney.
Kenny made the mistake of inviting us out to close his set every night, singing She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy.
That's Midland this week on Country Countdown USA.
Country Countdown USA, Wednesday afternoons at 1 o'clock on Carolina Country, WCSL, 92.3 FM, 1590 AM, and online at KTCBroadcasting.com.
It's a Ford Toyota battle here in Phoenix.
The NASCAR Xfinity Series.
Austin Cindric now in the middle as Christopher Bell goes to the bottom.
NASCAR's Young Guns ride into the desert Southwest.
Gets into the back of Christopher Bell. Bell saves the race car.
Eager to blaze their own trail to glory.
Bell pays Cindric back right in the middle of turns 3 and 4.
The Thank You Fans 200.
Dicey stuff.
Saturday at 3:30 on the Motor Racing Network.
The Thank You Fans 200 this Saturday afternoon at 3:30 on Carolina Country WCSL. 92.3 FM, 1590 AM, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
James Wholesale Mulch Yard is now open on Highway 150 West between Cherryville and Waco beside Southern States. Open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. and on Sunday by appointment. You'll find mulch, gravel, straw, trees, pine needles, and more. Plus, James Wholesale Mulch delivers and installs by request. Call 704-884-1142 for details or directions, or look us up on MapQuest for directions. And call James Tree Service for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and all bucket truck needs. We have 23 years experience and rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Call us today at 704-884-1142. We take special orders for shrubs, trees, and more, and we accept credit cards. James Wholesale Mulch Yard and Tree Service. Traveling for a ball game? The Hampton Inn in Gastonia has more for your travels. Book the Ultimate Escape Package and enjoy $10 in snack shop credit, hot breakfast, premium Wi-Fi, and late checkout. At the Gastonia Hampton Inn, you can enjoy cable programming and video game consoles are also provided, plus a pool, a fitness center, dry cleaning service, and more. With 107 air-conditioned guest rooms, the Hampton Inn, 1859 Remount Road in Gastonia. Book your room by calling 704-866-9090. Office is open 24 hours a day.
Get ready for the big game by starting your day off with a Super Slampler from Denny's in Shelby and Gastonia. Ask for the Super Slampler. It comes with a slice of French toast, 2 buttermilk pancakes, 2 slices of bacon, and 2 eggs, all for only $5.99. That's right, only $5.99. Offer good 24/7. Ask for the Super Slampler at your nearest Denny's location, 3628 East Franklin Boulevard in Gastonia and 2025 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby.
Hi, this is Milton Baker from Memory Lane Antiques and Finds in downtown Krause beside the post office. Thanking you for a great 2018 and hoping to serve you in 2019 with local hometown service and great friendly people. From antiques to our Christmas room to things you can use daily. Come to Memory Lane Antiques and Finds in downtown Krause and see what we have. We are open Tuesday through Friday from 1 to 5, Saturday 10 to 3. Or call 704-240-4044 or 704-473-2794 for an appointment. Memory Lane Antiques and Finds in downtown Krause beside the post office.
NASCAR racing right here on Big O Country, WCSL 1590 AM, Cherryville, Gastonia, online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
Hey, welcome back to the Best in Sports Talk show. Time to talk a little NCAA basketball, NBA basketball, a little bit of basketball time. And before we get into UNC Duke, I just want to play a little quick couple of snippets. I went to the Portland Trailblazers game against the Charlotte Hornets on Sunday. I'm not going to play all these, but I did get interview time with Rodney Hood and Damian Lillard. The reason I was with Hood is because during the game, all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, we look up and Rodney Hood and Jeremy Lamb are having a shootout.
Yep, they were.
Well, it wasn't at night. It was in the afternoon. We left the gym. That was the weirdest thing ever, is walking out of Time Warner or Spectrum or whatever it's called now, and it's sunshine. Well, it was cloudy, but there was light.
Not a lot of sunshine nowadays.
Yeah, we walked out, and it was misting when we walked out. But anyway, Trailblazers won. Hornets are reeling now, Ken. They're out of the playoffs as of right now. Struggling. Rodney Hood got hot. Their former Duke player, and in the locker room, I just really wanted to play this bit because, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, all these people get angry at the media, and I like to ask them fun questions. Make them smile, make them laugh. We're all here having a good time. We're all adults here, and let's have a little fun with this. So when I walked into Portland locker room, see, every team gets a catered meal, right, from somewhere. So 2 weeks ago when Golden State was here, I don't know where they catered from, but my goodness, it was the best looking food I've ever. They had steak, shrimp, they had every meat, and it would look nice, like a really nice restaurant hooked them up. The last 2 games I've went to has been the Trailblazers, and for some reason, for the life of me, I cannot remember the game I went to before that. And Ken, they had Bojangles.
Okay.
So from what I'm getting, that the teams can just cater whatever they want. So as soon as the game's over, they have a little room in there. They fill it with food and everything. Yeah. So Portland got Bojangles. And Hood was from North Carolina. Portland people they don't know anything about no Bojangles.
That's funny.
And so half the guys on the team, of course, nobody on the team's from the South.
Yeah.
So none of them know anything about Bojangles. So when I walked in, they were having an argument over who had the best fried chicken, KFC, Popeyes, and they're all talking about some of them had never had Bojangles.
Yeah.
Lillard had because he had been here in the
Yeah,
All-Star week,
yeah.
so he had them. Enos Cantor was in there. I didn't see him eat anything. I don't know if he was kind of walking out when I was walking in. Seth Curry's on that team. So it's a little fun, so they're all talking chicken and everything. And one of the foreigners, it wasn't Yurkit or Joe, whichever one it is, nurses or for Portland, but one of the bench warmers was sitting there. His whole plate was 75% mac and cheese. Like that's what he had. One piece.
He
of
knew
chicken.
what that was. Yeah.
And it was funny hearing the guys. Hey, I can't. One of them was like, "Is best I could do." Hey, you like a fried chicken? It's like he had never eaten fried chicken. I don't know how that went, but it was pretty funny. But anyway, I talked to Rodney Hood after he got with all the serious questions. Ken, I asked him the most important question of all. Is it the Bojangles that makes him play so good in North Carolina? Because so here's me asking Rodney Hood about the Bojangles. Is it the Bojangles that makes you play so well when you're down here?
No, man. It's just being back in the South, man. Being in the familiar area. Talking trash to Carolina fans.
Yeah.
It was good. But it's just fun being back in the South. I'm a Southern guy up at heart, so it was good.
So he originally went to Mississippi or Mississippi State, I think, right, Ken?
Yeah.
So he's been down here his whole life. So he knew what the Bojangles was when I mentioned the Bojangles. He just laughed at it. Thought that was pretty good. Then we talked Damian Lillard for a little while. I'm only going to play one more quick clip from these interviews. They're on a long road trip. We talked about that. New help from teammates. They made some trades this week. Dealing with the Charlotte Hornet runs. I got a clip on that. This is him talking about being in third place in the West right now.
I think it's significant because a lot of people aren't in third place.
If you're watching the video, Ken, you can see the Bojangles there in the background.
Still a lot. It's under 20 games left. Still a lot to fight for. I think the position we in, we're like actually in range of being the number one. I mean, obviously Golden State is going to be tough. They probably won't ever give that up with that team, but it's in range. The two is definitely in range. So I think for us, that's where our mind has to be again. We in third. Just keep playing the brand of basketball we playing. Keep having our mentality that we have.
So that was Portland Trailblazers' Damian Lillard. You can watch all those interviews and all of our interviews on the KTC Broadcasting YouTube page, as always. Check that out. All right, Ken, ACC basketball. We got 3 teams in the top 4. My feeling about this is that Virginia should be banned from a 1 seed because of what happened to them last year. If you've only one time in the history has a 1 seed lost in the first round, and if you're the team that does it, and it's the same players and same coach and same team, until that coach has been fired or leaves, I think that school should be banned from that 1 seed.
They certainly got a lot to make up for.
Because what's wrong with the 2 seed?
Oh, it's nothing.
You know what I mean?
It's really not that much difference.
It don't mean anything.
It don't mean anything. When you look at the brackets, once they announce them, you look and see, what's the good teams in it? And guess what? There'll be a 1, a 2, a 3, maybe a 4 that's pretty good. And, of course, we know there's lots of upsets.
Yep. So, the seed, when people complain about the seed, that just kind of
But Virginia's still, they're still ranked second. Gonzaga's first, and you got Carolina and Duke. And, in the ACC standings, that's the way it is. Virginia and Carolina with 15-2 records in the conference, and Duke 14-3. And Duke last night, in senior night, I know they don't have any seniors, but wow, they played like they didn't want to be there against Wake Forest, survived by a 1-point win as Wake Forest missed the last second shot, 71-70. Duke went into that game as a 25-point favorite. So they're not playing well without Zion Williams. I understand Coach K says he probably will not play against North Carolina Saturday in that next Carolina-Duke game in Chapel Hill.
So Zion Williamson, he said he should be ready for the SEC tournament. So,
but here's the
Tar
thing.
Heels may get him in the tournament.
But here's the thing. If you throw him in there and he hadn't been playing with these, he's just going to go back in there and they're going to start playing great like they were before he went out, or is it going to be a transition? I remember Kyrie when he's at Duke, when he's out for a long time, and he came back and everybody said they'll be able to be good, and they didn't do too good in the
I think it depends on what the other teams think about. If they smell blood in the water, like when against LeBron right now. The team smell blood and water.
Yeah.
They're going at LeBron.
I think so.
So when Zion comes back, does he? It's obviously a confidence thing with Duke right now that he's not in there.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as he went out, you could tell in the Carolina game they weren't going to compete in that game at all.
Not. They were not.
They're used to their big slam dunking guy on the
Yeah.
court, and if he's not in there, they're looking at each other like, "What do we do now?"
Mhm.
And that's Coach K's fault. That's
It
his.
is.
That's his.
It is.
That's his job to get that settled. And so I guess when the question comes back, Ken, is when he comes back, what do the opposing teams look at Zion, and how do the teammates feel about it? The teammates feel, hey, I can throw some alley oops now, maybe get some scores, and then they'll feel better on the run. But I think it is going to be a lot on what the teams feel if he comes back.
One thing I've noticed without him being in there, maybe it's just a cohesiveness thing, but their defense and rebounding has really dropped off.
Yeah,
it's much worse with him not in.
He's
the
a big
lineup.
giant man to be out there. Definitely. Is State going to squeak in?
I think so. You got 8 teams that look like they'll make it into the tournament, and State is 8-8 now, but 20-9 overall. So I think they'll get in there along with Syracuse, Louisville, Virginia Tech, Florida State, Duke, Carolina, and Virginia. I think 8 teams will make it into the tournament this year, but we'll see.
All right, Ken. Over in you got any more notes on that, or you want to kind of touch
fine.
on everything else? Over in NASCAR, Logano won this weekend in Vegas. Keselowski second. Sunday will be in Arizona for the Ticket Guardian 500, and you know this year, just real quick, I'm gonna get into this. Not too thrilled with what's going on. It's the same thing that happened last year. So in week 1, it seems like everybody's running good. Hendricks qualified 1 through 4 in Daytona. So if everybody's got the same speed and same everything, they're 1, 2, 3, 4. As soon as we move to a track without no restrictor plate, the Fords are back at the top again.
Yeah,
it's all Ford and Toyota, Ford and Toyota, Ford and Toyota. And let's look at the qualifying here. No, this is the results from Vegas. Top 10, 2 Chevys. 2 Chevys in the top 10. One of them's Kurt Busch. He just started driving a Chevy this year.
And you know, Kevin, the thing about NASCAR, they like to even things out. They like parity, but I don't know what's he going to do here.
Well, I thought, and a lot of fans thought, so last year was the last year of the Fusion. So they've been running that Ford the whole time, so they were used to it. That's understandable why you're doing well with that compared to the Camaro, which is new body style. So that's debatable. You know, you can understand that to where that's why that worked out that way. So this year with Ford with the new Mustang, and Chevy's had an extra year to work on theirs. I thought it'd get a little bit closer, but there's something obviously going on that as soon as they get on a track that's not restrictor plates, it's all Ford and Toyota. Yeah. And then when you look in the teens, there's where all your Chevys are. Look at the Chevys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the teens Chevys. So they're all there, and that's I'll know. All I got to do is look at the Johnson qualifying. He ain't a bad driver, but when you look at the times and he's down 3 seconds behind everybody, along with the rest of the other Chevy people, you got
they got an uphill battle.
All right, Ken, your Bryce Harper signed with the Phillies.
Yeah, he got his big contract for 13 years, so he'll be there forever with the Phillies.
I told Carson and Hunter that just guaranteed the Braves won't be in last place for the next 13 years.
That's for sure.
Because I mean, that's $330 million the Braves can spend on multiple players.
Oh yeah,
you have to look at it like that.
You got to look at it that way.
I mean, that's just crazy that that a baseball player is getting that much, and I hurt Carson and them's feelings all the time because I think these new age statistics are just absolute bullcrap.
I'm like you. I don't.
And I wish we had time. It's time for a break. Time to the end of the show. But I can pull up Pujols' numbers, and they talk about how Mike Trout. They'll sit there and say Mike Trout's the best player ever. And I bring up Pujols' numbers, and it's so dominating.
Oh,
not even that it's an argument. It's just dominating.
Dominating for like 10 years. You know, year in, year out.
The first 10 years of Pujols' career was the best of any player, I think, maybe in Major League history. You might be able to argue Bonds, but it might not. I don't know. It's just look at the stats for good. I think last year was the first year Harper. He had one good year. And then last year, he ended up with 100 RBIs. There's only 2 times in 7 years he had 100 RBIs. Hadn't ever hit 40 home runs, no 40 doubles, none of that. And he just got $330 million.
Yeah, and every other year he bats, below 270. I mean,
glad you said that. His career average is 275, I think.
Yeah,
276. Tim Tebow last year hit 278, and they say he can't play.
Yeah, there you go.
So that guy hits 278 in minor league baseball. He can't play, but the Major League Baseball right now, last year he hit 250.
Yeah, I know.
He hit 250 last year, not 270. He hit 250.
And goes and gets that kind of contract.
$300 million. All right, folks, that's it. The show. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next Wednesday. Tomorrow is baseball time instead of Friday. We're going to get to follow on Facebook and Twitter at KTC Broadcasting for all of our up-to-date schedules. It's baseball season, Ken. That means rainouts. That means we have no idea what the schedule is. We just talked a minute ago. We said what they should do is just list the teams in order they're going to play them, and then we'll figure out the dates and times as we go.
Yeah, it's just you just don't know, and we might have some baseball on KTC tomorrow, but we're working on it, and we could have a game tomorrow, like Kevin said. Stay tuned. Check the schedules on ktcbroadcasting.com.
All right, see you next week on the Best in Sports Show.
People are talking about when they listen to Carolina Country.
We listen to you all the time.
I listen to it at night, in the morning, at work, everywhere I go.
Carolina Country, 92.3 FM, 1590 AM, WCSL Cherryville.
Hey, fun happens at MS Power Sports in Gastonia. I'm Calvin Hastings, and I want to invite you to join the Vols this Saturday, March 9th, for the big Time to Ride Spring Sales event at MS Power Sports in Gastonia. We'll be there from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. We'll have free Subway sandwiches from Subway in Belmont, plus chips and drinks. And be sure to come by and register to win tickets to a Charlotte Hornets basketball game, a $25 gift card to Whiskey Bill Bar and Grill in Bessemer City, a $20 gift card to the Firestone Grill in Gastonia, 3 rounds of golf at the Craters Mountain Golf Course, Boss T-shirts, and more. And be sure to check out the spring deals going on now. Ask about special financing programs available. So get ready for fun with a big Time to Ride Spring Sales event, because fun happens at MS Power Sports, located at 4804 Wilkinson Boulevard in Gastonia. Online at mscycles.com.
Say, kids, what time is it?
This is the 60s.
Hey, JJ Wilson here, reminding you to tune in this weekend for This is the 60s, featuring the best music from the best decade and so much more. There's 60s television, movies, news, pop culture, trivia, novelty songs, interviews, deep cuts, and a whole lot more. It's peace, love, and rock and roll on This is the 60s.
This is the 60s.